Greetings from Los Sueños, Costa Rica. My name is Jerry Gilpin with Denison Yachting. Today I'd like to present to you one of my latest listings. She's a 94-foot Seaforth 9 custom performance sport yacht. She's built in 2013 and goes by the name of Bonny Read. Seaforth has built a reputation around building some of the most robust fishing vessels on the water, and this 94 is a great example of how well-rounded their intense builds are. From a technical standpoint, the most notable feature about Bonny Read is her hull construction and pedigree of being a custom-built performance sport yacht. Her hull geometry generates lift on nearly 90% of the running surface at low angles of attack. What this translates into is an economical cruise speed of 26 knots and a range of 800 nautical miles. This engineering also allows her to achieve a top speed of 35 knots, meaning that when it's time to leave the dock and run offshore, she can get you to your fishing or cruising grounds with a great speed and comfortable ride. Not only does she have great geometry, but she's also the benefactor of one of the most extensive refits I've ever seen on a vessel, making her arguably one of the most functional and practical Sportfish yachts on the water. Before I get started, I would like to tell you about a few of the hundreds of upgrades and updates that make this boat best in her class. She underwent an intense 6-month yacht refit in 2021, wherein virtually every system on the boat was upgraded and replaced with the greatest available. Close to a year was spent in drafting this new plan to utilize an already very successful platform and bring to modern-day technology and functionality capable of traveling all of the world's oceans. To accomplish this, they started going through every aspect of the yacht. Rubicon Maritime Consulting, who oversaw the refit, changed out everything from the electrical wiring to fully replacing the HVAC system and adding a pair of Seakeeper 18s to increase stability. Two other major projects include a complete engine room refit and reconfiguration, new teak decks on the exterior, as well as dark gray hull paint job and white topside paint. An intense part of the refit came when it was time to upgrade all of the ship's electronics. It was at this time that a full suite of Simrad electronics were installed. On top of replacing the monitors, 2 radars were replaced, AIS was added, and the autopilot was refreshed. To complete the rewired and reworked electronics package, the addition of an Atlas shore power system and frequency converters make Bonny Read capable of European 50 Hz or domestic 60 Hz power. Several structural changes were made to affect more than just the inner workings. This is seen with her brand new custom pipe welder's hardtop with polished stainless steel pipework. A few less visible structural changes were made with a redesign of the exhaust system, fuel tanks, and a fuel manifold system. Her new fuel system ties in with her twin MTU M94s, which have been completely overhauled. Working alongside the engines is a set of brand new Northern Lights 36 kW gensets. It would understate this 94-footer to just call this a fishing machine. While the angler's experience is at the forefront, it's the interior that makes the loudest statement when you first walk through this yacht. The interior is designed with a European layout, with the galley separate from the dining and salon areas. Throughout, every soft good was replaced, including the sofas in the salon and enclosed bridge, as well as the carpeted soles. Now that I've introduced you to this luxury world-class Sportfish, I'm going to take you through each space on board. Let's take a look. After 8 years of traveling and fishing around the world, it was decided it was time to bring Bonny Read to modern-day technology and standards. As the owner and team at Rubicon began making a list of changes, it became clear that most aspects of the yacht were going to be altered and updated entirely. One such area is our first stop on today's walkthrough, the sky bridge. For starters, the helm area was completely disassembled and the previous generations of electronics were removed. It was then lowered a few inches and redesigned with a state-of-the-art layout. Seated in an offset release helm chair, the captain could take advantage of 360-degree visibility with a full view of the bow and cockpit. The centerpiece here at the helm are twin 24-inch Simrad Halo displays, which are networked into the lower helm electronics. We'll see those in a few minutes. These monitors are mounted in a fully customized console that offers a waterproof home for everything but the Simrad displays. Looking below the port side monitor, we find an autopilot, engine controls, hydraulic rigger controls, and VHF command mic. There's a mirrored hatch on the starboard side of the helm that conceals the MFD controls, bow thruster, fusion stereo, and hydraulic outrigger controls. More electronics and controls are found above eye level, where we see items like the 2 Icom VHFs, engine displays, and 2 Simrad MFDs. Immediately after these electronics are a pair of Maya Epoch US 9 HD electric reels tied in with a pair of Rupp hydraulic outriggers. The last change of note at the console is the addition of a custom Palm Beach teak helm pod, which was added along with all new stainless pipework and railings. This area was further upgraded with new seating built to port and starboard. These bench seats help house fishing equipment below that serve as great day beds for guests and crew when you are out on longer runs. Custom Sunbrella cushions were made for the outboard bench seats as well as the forward lounge seating. What I like about this bench seat is that it's one of the best spots to sit while underway. Below this centerline seating are 2 large thermostatically controlled freezer boxes for added refrigeration. The final thing to point out up here is the fully customized and outfitted pipe welder's hardtop. Mounted on the top side is all new navigation equipment, featuring 2 Intellion 7 HD sat domes and 2 open array radars. Also found up here are a pair of ACR spotlights and antennas for GPS and VHF communications. Wrapping up at the upper helm and navigation equipment, we are going to look at the bridge deck mezzanine, just 1 level down. This is a hybrid space designed to make the fishing experience more robust. What I want to point out in this area is the arrangement. Usually, the seating is pushed all the way forward to the enclosed bridge. By moving it aft, it makes the seating more usable at all times of the day. This is a great spot to sit with your feet up on the belly band surrounding the area and watch the action in the cockpit below. From here, follow me inside as we take a look at Bonny Read's enclosed bridge. If the sky bridge above is about making the most of the outdoor experience underway, then the enclosed bridge is the flip side of that coin. Luxury finishes and rich millwork combined with wrapping windows and a new HVAC system to create a blend of sophistication and reliability. Before we look at the helm, note that the seating area is on the port aft corner with a raised settee and a large teak tabletop. Opposite to starboard is the TV entertainment area, as well as an internal spiral staircase connecting the salon and enclosed bridge. As you might expect, the main helm, which takes up the forward end of the enclosed bridge, is as good as it gets. Starting here at the lower helm, we find our 5 24-inch Simrad Halo displays, each displaying a different view at the captain's choice. Just below that, we find our 2 remote water maker panels, our Simrad remote control, Simrad autopilot, our Maritron DSM 250, our 2 engine ECU displays, engine controls, hydraulic bow thruster, and 2 Seakeeper displays. Just above, we find our remote generator start-stop and power management system, as well as our tank monitoring display and fuel transfer system. Flanking the helm chair, you'll find 2 companion seats, 1 to port, 1 to starboard. For comfort, centerline is a stood helm chair, raised at the precise height for a panoramic 360-degree view of everything surrounding the vessel. Anyone that knows Sportfish yachts knows that the sketchiest part of a boat like this is navigating from the side deck to the bow. This brings us to the most substantial safety feature on this 94, a full wraparound stainless steel bow rail. Up on the bow, you find a full stainless steel plow anchor. You have a Maxwell windlass with a gypsy, and your ship's anchor road locker, which stores below. When it comes to the tender operations on board, there's a Novaranian tender with a 70 horsepower Yamaha outboard. This is pulled in and out of the water by a hydraulic davit. This is a good spot for us to talk about how this boat was built. The vessel's bottom uses a hull geometry that the manufacturer claims generates lift over 90% of the running surface at low angles of attack. When the 2600 horsepower MTU diesels are pressed hard from idle, the hull rises onto plane almost imperceptibly. The hull features prop pockets and a minimal keel for improved seakeeping while running dead level, as opposed to the bow high entry of some vessels in its class. The hull is as close to overbuilt as you can get. The manufacturer calls its process monolithic construction. It uses an AME 5000 vinyl ester resin throughout the process, with US manufactured non-woven glass and double layers of Divinycell coring, all vacuum bagged for strength without excess weight. All areas where through hulls, struts, or rudder posts extend through the hull receive additional reinforcement before the full-length stringer system and a comprehensive stringer grid get pressed in place. Followed by 4 main composite bulkheads, a crash bulkhead, and hull side beams. The hull is then baked so the laminate is completely cured. Composite floors and soles are bonded to the stringer system and glass to the hull using West Systems epoxy. This is all done before the house, bridge, and sky deck are glassed in place to create a single, extremely strong monolithic structure. When finished, the boat isn't the heaviest or the lightest in its class, but it's arguably the strongest. The section on board, perhaps where engineering matters the most, is the aft end of the boat, which spans the full 22 feet 11-inch beam. From bow to stern, her sloping sheer carries it all the way nearly to the cockpit, which is optimized for the precise height for fishing. Let's start diving into this area by looking at the transom, where there are brand new underwater lights illuminating the water below the name-board. These also help light up the area where a swim platform can be attached under the transom tuna door. In this area, we also find a custom-built tuna tube system featuring 7 tuna tubes on a dedicated manifold system. These are part of a system that's combined with a live well. Additional live wells are found port and starboard under the mezzanine stairs. The centerpiece of the fishing experience is seen in the middle of the cockpit with this Release Trillion Series fighting chair mounted on an offset stainless stanchion. With rocket launchers all along the aft, there are 8 additional rod holders found in the surrounding covering boards. Before we take a look at all of the storage here in the cockpit, I want to point out that below the cockpit sole are a pair of 2 Seakeeper 18s that offer this yacht's great stabilization, whether on the run or fishing. Some of the other key hatches in the deck include the port and starboard macerated fish boxes with an Eskimo dispenser in the port fish box. In deck are 2 rudder inspection hatches and a centerline bilge access. When it comes to tackle storage, there's plenty of spaces around the boat, but everything you need to have on hand can be found in port and starboard tackle centers. Another custom feature in the immediate area is a large commercial refrigerated drink box. The cockpit sole is finished in teak and was just replaced, like the rest of the important systems in the area. This carries over onto the port and starboard stairs leading up to the observation mezzanine. Part of the refit also included all new upholstery and soft good, which we could see along the aft of an alfresco cocktail and teak table with stowable teak chairs. Under the aft seating is access to the new stainless steel deep freezer and refrigerated drink box. More seating is seen forward in the starboard corner of the area below one of 2 large windows in the bulkhead. 2 other features I want to point out are the stairs to port that lead up to the bridge deck, as well as this Simrad Halo 16-inch multifunction display over to starboard. This area is elevated to give you a great view and to make extra space for the engine room. But before we check out the Salon, I want to show you one of the most impressive engine rooms I've ever seen on a Sportfish. In the mechanical space, over to our starboard side, you'll find the newly installed Atlas Shore Power Converter. Just above that is a generator control panel, and just above that is the ship's tank metering and fuel manifold system. Over to the port side are 4 newly installed Dometic chillers, and just in front of this is the entrance into the engine room. Down here in the engine room of Bonny Read is where most of the work took place. You'll find 2 MTU M94 2600 horsepower engines. Each engine is paired with a ZF transmission and 2 Sawyer Danfoss hydraulic pumps. Moving further aft, you're going to find the 2 newly installed Northern Lights generators. They're 35 kW each, and these were relocated from their outboard portion before. Moving forward and port are all the new water makers and Spot Zero system. The crew quarter area is accessed through the engine room or the galley area. On the port side of the crew quarter area is the over-under single berth with ample storage outboard and a hanging closet. On the starboard side is the captain's quarter with a separate door to isolate from the opposite berth areas. Finally, there's a separate ensuite head and shower which is located between the engine room entrance and the crew quarter area. Now that we've taken a look at the mechanical spaces in the exterior decks, let's next take a look at the more formal end of Bonny Read, the salon. The cabinetry, tables, and all the doors on the boat are built from quarter-sawn teak, all derived from a single tree and book-matched grain. Also completing the interior space are all new soft goods and carpeting. To port is a newly upholstered U-shaped ultra-leather sofa. Seated here, you have a good line of sight through the surrounding windows, and you can also tune into a 65-inch TV to starboard. It's worth noting that the AV equipment was updated during the most recent refit and included all new TVs. The TV in here has been paired with Bose surround sound. To starboard is the internal curved staircase, which I pointed out earlier, that connects the enclosed bridge and the salon. Another key feature in this area is the day head in the starboard aft corner of the space. In the forward portion of the salon is where we find the formal dining room. This area is formed around a custom crafted teak table and chair set that seats 8 comfortably. The table is surrounded by teak cabinetry housing the yacht's stem and flatware, silverware, and linens. Additionally, there's a Millie wine cooler and Kenmore clear ice maker, which are hidden in the immediate area. Moving forward into the companionway on the starboard side behind the book-matched grain teak, there's extra storage, the ship's electrical distribution panel, and just across from this is the entrance into the galley. Bonny Read was designed with a European style, meaning the galley is separate from the salon and dining areas. The most clever thing about this near full beam galley is the dining area with 2 stowable bar seats. When it comes to the all-new appliances, next to the seating area is a floor-to-ceiling refrigerator and freezer. As for the cooking, that takes place at a 3-burner induction cooktop, above a stainless oven with a microwave convection above. Featured in the galley is a sink, KitchenAid stainless steel trash compactor, and Amelia espresso machine. Design elements include a custom gray granite countertop, gray zebra wood Antico flooring, and teak cabinetry. I would like to point out in the galley there are port and starboard pocket doors. On the port side there's a staircase that leads down into the crew area, which we've already taken a look at. Wrapping up in here, we're going to continue forward and check out the sleeping accommodations. Along the way, we're going to pass the ship's laundry center, as well as a custom-built rod locker, which houses the tail of Bonny Read. Moving to port and to aft brings us into the owner's accommodations, which takes up the full beam of the boat, which is just under 23 feet. To the port side, the companionway terminates into the owner's stateroom, featuring a large centerline king-size berth that faces forward. Around it and all sides are built-in dressers, 2 cedar-lined armoires, and nightstands capable of holding enough clothing and personal items for a long stay. The teak finish remains uninterrupted in here, with lots of light coming from the overhead LEDs. At the foot of the bed, on the forward bulkhead, is a 65-inch OLED TV, tied into a Bose surround sound system. And opposite the entry stairs, we see the ensuite head and shower. Worth noting in the ensuite is that the entire plumbing system was replaced in the recent refit, and everything from the shower doors to the faucets were also updated. All of the heavy entry doors are lined with opposing teak grain, satin hinges, locks and levers, and magnetic bumpers to prevent slamming while underway. Heading forward from the master, our next stop is on the starboard side, where we find a guest stateroom with an island queen berth. Storage in here is found below the bed, nightstands, and a cedar-lined hanging closet. Like the rest of the guest accommodations, this stateroom has a private ensuite head and shower. Across the hall we have what you call the kids' room, with 3 single beds. 2 of them are arranged as bunks with the 3rd inboard. There's ample storage in here, as well as a TV fixed to the forward bulkhead. All the way forward in this cabin is the ensuite. The 4th and final guest accommodation on board is the VIP in the bow. This cabin is laid out around an island queen berth directly below a skylight. Teak cabinetry flanks both sides of the berth with a pair of cedar-lined hanging lockers and airline style storage. Facing aft in here we see not only the TV, but also the entrance into a separate ensuite head and shower. Thanks for joining me on today's in-depth walkthrough of Bonny Read. As you can tell, this is the most impressive yacht in its class. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.